Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have the Z or Z tier RAMMUS, and that's purely because, well, everything that could possibly go right for a champion to be strong, to be in the meta, and to counter everything else in the meta, yeah, that happened, you know? So when you give more experience and remove gold, tanks like that. When you make jungle items scale off of resistances, tanks like that too. And then obviously we've got the fact that Moss Stomper has been very, very strong, and even though it's been nerfed, doesn't really matter. We've got the RAMMUS quality of life buffs we received a few months ago. Everything that could have possibly happened in this patch, in those patch notes, was basically saying, yes, RAMMUS. And here we are. So I'm going to show you exactly what he's doing. This is on a new game. So basically, you know, the hotfixes, a lot of the hotfixes that went out are not as severe or drastic as you would think. You know, like the Lilia. 5 base damage removed. It's not going to do anything. RAMMUS here will lose a little bit of his power spike. The jungle gold will affect everybody, but again, it affects tanks less because they're used to playing low econ. Runes on your screen now. If it was anything else and you are surprised that it's this, then you are obviously new to the spiked wall of doom. The Zed, the Camille, the Jin, they're not going to have a good time. And I want to show you how you can get that juicy 85% plus kill participation. Now, for Zarda GG guides, RAMMUS is coming hopefully over the weekend. I had to withdraw it because of some technical issues. We're going to be slapping that RAMMUS up with the new builds just for you very, very soon. Maybe even tomorrow if we can get all the tech sorted. So, Zarda GG guides for 30 plus junglers or below. RAMMUS on his way, hopefully, thusly. Much like he will be into the lanes of, well, I want to say death and despair, but that seems a little bit too verbose for someone who only says, okay. Now, we have here the Zed doing a full clear. And basically, when you're a tank jungler versus a Zed-style jungler, and you look at this and you go, 228, 229, dude is on red, and I'm crossing mid lane at 233. Now, good Virkayu in Season 12 was doing that at 222, 223, Nidleys as well, which means you're never going to match that kind of tempo. What can you do to kind of offset that? And sometimes the response is, let them do what they need to do. Don't try and copy them, all right? Make sure if you don't see gankable lanes, like this is a CC-less Vladimir lane who's shoving it up a little bit here against the Silas, most likely Zed's going to finish this, gank this, or gank this and take this, which means because of the opposite pathing, I don't really have to think too much about matching him. Now, if you were to match him, then you would do the same thing we did in the Mundo game, should there be no prior, which would be in this particular case, go back to base, take the opposite scuttle. However, we are RAMMUS, and we're not going to do our Krugs here for level 4. We're going to say, listen, the Zed's already done. He should be showing a mid lane here considering the low HP nature. I'm going to cut my clear short, shadow this Vladimir and say, hello, can I bump into you, knock you up a little bit, give you a juicy taunt? And the W hotfix nerf, increasing that by a second, the cooldown, that's huge. The red buff, please. Red buff, please. Come on, red buff. Red buff, never, ever. He was like, is his E up or is my taunt up first? Which one is going to be up? So never ever kind of give away the kill if you think you're going to get it. Just guarantee it. Make sure you see that burn tick damage go in the right direction. This Cassante comes on down here as well to punish the Zed. This is a great use of, hey, look, I could full clear and stay bottom side and dive that. I could just take the scuttle and get level 4. Relaxed gamings, Mundo gamings, but you're RAMMUS. At most, I like to see a 5 campo because you can cut it short, match his full clear tempo, get into the lane first, and then kill him as well. Because that's the thing. All these Ravenous Hydra 80 building assassinos who are getting the gold ripped from them in the jungle, they don't like RAMMUS. You kill them. And obviously here we have the Camille. This is such a disrespectful back cancel. She's going to try to get that kill, but the Xant is able to dash to the RAMMUS and get the heal, and we basically see this happening, cancel a base, and go to the top lane. One more juicy Scorpion-based or Armadillo-based Scorpion-based. Oh, Cassante, man, that was greedy. You should have just kept your spacing, but, you know, therein is the issue for short-handed T-Rex-like champions when you have low auto-attack range. We can't all be ranged melees like Aurelia, you know what I mean? Good design. So here, you know, you see this cancel you back, make sure you're doing that. Don't AFK shop. Now, where is the Zed going to be in this particular situation? Most likely he resets upon his death and carries on resequencing. He's obviously going to do this. If he sees you top lane, then he will kind of go counter jungling here as well. So you could look to kind of cut that off. But in the event that it's just outside in roll, Scuttle, Gromp, Wolves should see him crossing here into the Raptors. Boom! Well done, Ash. That's why ADCs who complain about junglers and they don't track issue. See, the Ashe has the ability to do that, but you still have to track him, right? Here we go. Ah, yes. Q3, taunts, knockups. W damages, as I said, that hotfix nerf from 6 to 7, that cooldown, not really an issue, but kind of deserved, right? Because now that he doesn't get slowed by it, it's so damn strong here, this defensive curveball, you can read all of that there. That used to only, I believe that used to only be armor, actually. Or was it always armor magic resist? It's always been armor heavy and favored. He was like the, classically like 10 years ago, you know, the armor tank, and then you had the Malphite also an armor tank, and then you had the Maokai and the Mundo be your AP kind of tank. So it's nice that they're flowing in this, you know, tanks can tank because you don't be first big tank and then you're useless against magic or physical damage. So that is nice. We do enjoy, but of course, I thought something was going on in the bottom lane and I clicked and nothing was. Anyway, so the fact that that now stops you from being movement reduced, you know, something that can give you that bonus sort of damage where people attack you and they get hurt, as well as getting those bonus resistances and amplifying your passive as well. That's just, you know, that cooldown has to go up a little bit, and I think they're kind of hoping that that does something, but we'll see exactly. The win rate has dipped very slightly, but he's still super, super strong. He's still great into the all AD meta, and again, the jungle pets now having a magic resist and a armor sort of bonus 10% scaling on the damage, allowing you to clear into the mid game, has been so wonderful for tank players, allowing you to kind of keep parity with those other more strong farming junglers in the meta. And at the same time, as I said, when you've got Ravenous Hydras and all those kinds of people running around with a lot of Omnivamp and AD, and you just rush Thormail, and you have that basically built into your W, and we go for the big boom of the ultimate here. Zed is, yeah, you're dead. You're dead. He tried to kind of cut his clear short and go for a gank here, but now he's 0-2-0. Good shadowing by the Rammus here. Being chased down. Can we get into taunt range? No, we cannot, so we'll go onto the doot, but be careful, the wave is showing up and you are still killable. Please remember that. Oh, this is classic of... I love it when mid laners have a macro sense. It's so nice when they have a macro sense. You could look to steal this, but of course with Sylas moving on down and the Zed respawning and potentially coming on down, you do have to be cautious about the fight. The Ashe hits the ult for the disengage and we can leave the situation. Waves crash and get some plates. Very, very good, but... that's what I talked about in my ultimate ganking guide that I kind of just released on the main channel, talking about all the modern ganking principles you need. 10 of them. I wrote 10, but it's all. But, you know, if you write all, then people think you're lying. I wasn't lying. I just try to condense everything you need to know about ganking with links to other stuff. And that's on the main channel, but we talk specifically about using a tracking for counter ganking, especially against farming junglers who will have this big period of time between a full clear, whereas you don't have that luxury, so you more have to do your quadrant clears and look for the ganks. But with 304 now, 7 out of 8 KP, the Zed has been cut off every single place he's gone. He is at 20, we are at 25, worth noting if you wanted to contest this or this, because most likely in this particular situation, that extra 300 smite, you're not going to outsmite a damage doer anyway, because you don't have that damage spell to combine with smite to kind of amplify it even more so, whereas a Zed can just kind of, you know, do his full combo plus smite and it just goes up. Warwick can just Q smite, it goes up. Nunu obviously has smite built in. With a tank, you're like, well, pure tank, I mean, you just kind of auto and smite and it's not enough, even if you're equal, let alone down 300 on the damage there. So we are going to focus on getting that thusly. We don't have a treat in pocket, but finishing the wolves will give us that amplification. Zed has now continued his full clear again, which means he could look to do this. Most likely he knows the Rammus is going to do this into this and this, so he could just look to do this after ganking the mid lane. So let's see where he goes. He could go top here or here. I do think he should gank before doing the Herald, specifically considering this, and the Rammus has seen this, if you would have noticed, and cut in once more, anticipating what I'm saying, going for that counter gank here, trying to make sure we get the Sylas. The Vladimir should help here. Does it? Almost. I was gonna say, hopefully, there you go. We're going to just leapfrog into him, make sure we hit that taunt, we activate our W, and obviously your Q as much as possible. So it's pretty straightforward with your knockup, with your CC, and with your volley bear, I don't know, bowling ball ultimate. I kind of like it. The old one was always more satisfying to use, you know, the tremor sense, just like reverberations, but this is definitely better for the modern game state, you know, because it allows him to get onto targets, actually use the taunt, use his passive with that as well, get his amplification of damage off, and obviously his attacks as well, right? They increase the duration of the W up to 4 times, 0.4 per stack, but that's, you know, worth noting that you can keep that going as well for the duration. So that R allows him to actually use his kit. The W having the movement speed reduction removed allows him to use his kit. And with all these AD people just running around, I mean, we've actually rushed the Sunfire, which beckons an interesting question here. When should we sort of rush Sunfire versus Thormail, and then obviously the Jack Show second? You can go Jack Show third. They've removed the stacks and made it more expensive. They want you to kind of go for it second or third. You know, I'm not always a fan of forcing that kind of ideology. It should be buildable 1, 2, 3, depending on whatever the nature of the game is. Let's go and snack a Mountain Dragon. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't try and deny a Mountain Dragon to a Rammus, but here we are in this reality. Zed's going top lane here. What are you going to do about that? Nothing, because dude will just all out you and then win that fight. We'll snack this up nice and juicy. This is level 7, the Zed only, by the way. Really interesting. So, for me, you would have seen in the Mundo video, Barmies, I recommend quite wholeheartedly on any junglers who want to maintain their ganking tempo, but also keeping up their farming tempo. In the meta, we are still focused on gold income. Now, with gold income being reduced even further, getting those camps, it equates to around a kill of gold value. Around 300, I think, effectively will be the realistic nerf from the treat nerf as well as the jungle monster nerf. So remember that. You're going to lose that, which means it's just basically one extra gank that you need to do, one extra kill you need to get. For a tank, less of an issue, but at the same time, I would like to make sure that I'm keeping up my gold parity with the enemy jungler. I would like to be able to ensure that while he's full clearing super quickly, I can at least do a quadrant quickly with my Sunfire, with my Barmies, so that I can rotate, track, and cut in, right? I'm not going to match the Zed doing this, so I can do the quadrant, anticipate, and shadow. Now, if I did need to do the full quadrant here, I could at least do so with reasonable speed. And that's why I like the W not having that slow there is so good. We use the ult for a little bit of a gap close. We'll just use the flash. We do have the ghost available, and Power Ball would have been up as well. Zed's going to show up here. I don't think he's going to be able to do much of anything. We have here the kill from the Xante onto the Camille. That's also very nice. Again, straight out of base, looking for the gank, making that bait, using the hook emote appropriately. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But yeah, that's why I like the Sunfire in that particular regard. Obviously, against a heavier comp like this, the Zed, the Camille, you know, if mid lane was also, say, a Yasuo or something, AD, definitely that Thormail is a great rush. Obviously, Thormail is what we want to rush on Rammus, and I still think default, Thormail, Jack Show, Sunfire, you can throw in Barmies wherever you like. You can rush it if you want to farm faster. You can go second if you want to amplify mid-game farming. All those things are up to you and how it feels for you. For me, I'm really feeling the need to have the Barmies and the Sunfire just to keep up that ability to quadrant control, 3 camp clear, 4 camp clear, and rotate to scenarios quickly as a tank. So the Barmies plus the jungle pet buff has been quite nice for me. Oh, it's a Leaf 500, there you go. That's why. That's why. There you go. Right, Bard is showing up in the bottom lane. We saw Zed there. We did try to do some counter jungling, but the nerf meant we couldn't really rinse that too quickly. So we'll go back and do our Krugs. We'll see this. Remember, if you have a scanner, scan it. The Ash arrow floats on by and hits absolutely nothing. I don't know where anyone was going with that. I suppose Bard... No, we don't have the Bard on our team. Bard's on the enemy team. I don't know where that ult Ash ult was going anyway. Let's go for a juicy ult taunt into that particular situation, but it's enough. Very nicely done. Tanks. Zed will now just ult the Ash and she will die. Can we get a kill return though? Nice taunt activation into the Heimerdinger turrets. Chase, 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 chase. Well done, Heimerdinger. Nice little snipe to finish him off. Okay, so the Zed, as you're seeing with Assassins, the further behind, the less useful you are. However, once you get items, Serrated Dirks, Tiamats, Ravenuses, Ghost Blades, Dusk Blades, Umbral Glaives, all the blades, you start to kill stuff anyway. So, you know, for farming junglers who are also assassins, I've made the assassin total guide last week on the main channel as well, talking about this kind of stuff. You don't want to be in his situation, but his situation was that he was just predictable, and the Rammus did an amazing job of saying, look, I'm a tank, I can't match you, but I can consistently cut. You do 4 camps, I do 2. Cut and shadow and counter gank, all gank first. You're doing a full camp, I'm just going to do a 5 camp and I'll gank first. So he's always looking to maintain that tempo advantage, even though the Zed doesn't necessarily see it. And because of this, he's allowed his Xante to get super fed. He's prevented the enemy jungler from snowballing, even though Heimerdinger without Zhonya's will die, even though Ash will die. It's at least, those are the only 2, and we can easily kill him back. So he will eventually do as Zed assassin things, but Rammus. Every time he ults, you just taunt him. Make sure you use that W as well, and off we go. So now the game has cooled down a little bit. We did take that Mountain Dragon. I think here it's crucial to ensure that you do get some full clears. well, that was clearly deserved. The Moss Stomper shield nerf, I think, is also okay. It's so good on everything, but at the same time, I kind of like that because, you know, why are you going to force certain junglers to go like Scorch Claw or Gus Walker, you know, red or blue? The Moss Stomper can be super good against a highly damaging meta, you know, on other champions. I don't necessarily think we should just remove these things off. He's just going to ult over the wall, isn't he? But we're going to ult over the wall. We have our smite here as well to slow him. He's going to E, so he doesn't have that up. We can powerball into him. We'll knock him up there. When's the taunt up? Here it is. Activate that W as well to get as much damage as possible. But the portal of saviorness takes him away into the universe, and Bard does good Bard things. I mean, a good Bard is so fun to watch, but frustrating for the enemy team. We do have a dragon up, though, and an RNG scuttle, so make sure we snack this up nice and juicy. Don't you dare touch the scuttle. Thank you, Mr. Elite. Thank Mr. Elite, generous mid laner, giving the scuttle to the jungler. Unlike pretty much most mid laners who will just take that. Don't take it. Don't. I get more experience. I need it. Right. Those are some good dragons for Rammuth. Rammuth like those dragons. That's Mountain Dragon plus it doesn't highlight? They don't. That's fascinating. Look at this. New season. You can highlight the old dragons, but you can't highlight this one, which gives you that shield and healing power, plus obviously tenacity. So, interesting. Right, can we put this in? Can we patch it in so all my homies who watch these videos can see the exact amount of data that you're putting out and as you buff and nerf it over time? Thank you, appreciate it. Now, let's have a look here. Cassandra is going to Giga Push on the top lane here. Mid is shoved in. The Silas is in the bottom lane. Push, 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 push. Revolution. Except he didn't handle enough flyers in this particular case, so I think he might look to be doomed. You started to walk, so we see you. He's going to use his E there. The Zed's trapping in the bush, and he gets taunted. We activate a W. The Powerball is now down. We do have ultimate. We're not going to use it because that would be doomed. We have a Ghost available now to use in the next Powerball. It is Powerball, yeah, okay. Sometimes I say the name convinced it is the name, but it's a name I've said in my head. I'm not a caster, so don't bother remembering all the names in the universe. We will protect our Heimerdingo. Oh. Well, we tried. At least we got the turret down. We are now stunned. We have the Zed going in here. We're going to ult and chase down the Silas, who's going to use the W for heals. It's not necessarily the best call. We do have the TP in from the Cassandre, who goes in. We do get the taunt on the Camille, who says, I'm going to trap you in my prison of death. And then she says, call an ambulance. And then Rammus says, yeah, but not for me. And she dies. And the Ash Arrow hits Bard, which doesn't really do anything, so those are kind of useless. And now he will magical journey everybody away. In the end, not such a bad fight. But remember, as a tank, and I will make a tank video like I did with the Assassin video at some point. Chat's in the way. Don't chase too much. Pay attention to your target swaps. It's very important that you pay attention to your target swaps. And you can tank towers quite easily here. Nice taunt again. Free death for the enemy. Okay. Well, you ease up so quickly and you get your W reset, so I think we're fine. Okay. Let's be careful now, my friends. But again, we cancel the base just in case that someone decides to go super aggressive. Camille will. She can't help herself. She can't help herself. We get the taunt. We get the exhaust. She hookshots away. I would have waited for the hookshot maybe, but again, Ash was kind of baiting it too much. Like, you have to force it to use a hookshot, and then you can kind of do that. And ADC life, baby. ADC life. Bye-bye. We have the Thormail completed now, by the way, so the bonus damage to champions at this point, that will be significantly reduced because we didn't rush it. Now the Zed's going to go ahead and ult that Cassandre, so you see, this is why people hate assassins, but it's incorrect because the whole thing is we're ahead of him by so much. Let's have a look at the cash money gold. Can we please make that work? No, it doesn't work anymore, so there you go. Buttons just don't work anymore in replays. 9,000 gold to 8,400. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I thought that lead was gonna be more, but we're a tank, so it is what it is. Again, when you're a tank, you use the gold more effectively than champions like a Zed. A Zed will need 3-4 items to really start to do what he wants to do. But if you're a tank and you have 3 items, 2.5 items, it's more than enough usually to be able to deal with it if he's behind on reaching his goals. Ideally, you know, like 3-to-3 parity here, the tank will do more with 3 items than the Zed will do with his 3 items in an equal playing field, typically, just because they can make use of those stats a lot better. But that's also because, you know, we're used to being low econ. We can't farm as much. We can't get as many kills as easily because we have less damage. So we need to be able to use our gold significantly more effectively. Now, if we have equal or head gold, then you should feel pretty comfortable as a tank, tanking most things. But at some point, there will be a break-even point Lord Dominic's and things like that, where they can actually start to kill you. So you gotta use your items appropriately, like Stoneblade, for example, is really good against percentage damage champions. Now, Herald is activated, so we didn't get control of that, but we do have the next dragon, which shall be spawning, and obviously it's a good one for us, the Ocean. All good dragons for Rammus. Do prefer the Mountain Soul and stacking like 4 of them babies, but obviously Ocean is glorious. Glorious, I tell you. As well as the the shielding boost here we have from the Chemtech dragon. Split pushing Cassante, okay, and now again, what are we doing? We're just farming up. We're 138 CS to 156, so the Zed is caught up a little bit and overtaken in a small way, and now he's got, obviously, the Last Whisper, Eclipse plus Ravenous. They did nerf it. We want to be careful here of the reverse Baron Sneak. If you all go this side, but it looks like no one is trying to go for that. So we're going to just go for the Powerball ult. Well, we burned the... I don't know if that's worth the Gale Force. I guess it kind of is, because your Powerball is up again soon, but your ult... probably a little bit too hasty to go in there. So again, pull the trigger on your engages for sure. Know when to target swap for sure, but at the same time, try to not waste those spells, because if they are grouping up for Baron fight and you're grouping up for a Baron fight and it's still close and gold and you don't have crucial engage spells or peel spells, then it can be kind of unlucky. Because you know your Ashe is going to die, right? Like, you know Ashe is dead, and once the hybriding is used as Zhonya's, which he doesn't even have, he's going to die, so... what's going on here? There's a vampire bloodsucker guy on the top side here. Excuse me, not actually a vampire. But ults over the top here. Zed has not gone back over the wall. He does kill Elite 500, but the Rammus has arrived. Can we kill all? We have the Hammering Digger behind us. The Ashe is following sweet. The Powerball is available. Chase, 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 chase. Taunton 6, Taunton 6. 4, 3, 2, 1. We want to make sure we use it target swapping, but we can't stick to them. We tried, but we couldn't. Our W is effectively wasted. The red team kites it out, which is exactly what you want to do against that champion. That's why not letting that taunt hit you is so damn important, because obviously the W then gets wasted because you can just keep your spacing. We do get rooted in place. We do have ult up available again now. Are you sure you want to go for this fight while Cassandra splits bot lane? Silas goes way too deep, so we'll get that taunt and he will die for it. The Heimerdinger gets sniped in the backside by the Jhin. Yellow Monkey doing yellow monkey things. Cassandra in the bottom lane, here we go. Ult is available. We can dunk him. That's a taunt. That's a kill. That's a magical journey. That's more like a magical stream of nightmares, because that didn't take them anyway, but it is enough to get them through the day. He's pushing on the bottom side here. No one's touching him. But hey, free inhib. Again, also the Iceborne is not... I do like the Iceborne tech as well. I'm enjoying Jackshaw from the jungle, but honestly, as much as I want to force it in the jungle, you know, it's not like with Ornn. Ornn, there was always something salvageable. You know, the longer range spells, your clear speed was definitely pretty good. The Brita procs, the amount of copious CC you had, the copious amount of CC you had for lane ganks and ganks of all nature. Cassandra just lacks a little bit of range and speed, you know, that Ornn has in terms of the range. So, and the clear speed is significantly better. I don't know if it's going to be something I'm going to be able to rock solid figure out other than a little bit of fun, but I'll keep trying for a little bit more and see where we end up. But if you want to play tanks, Rammus, Z-tier pick, Zach is back on the map because apparently he needed more damage. I don't know. We obviously have the Sejuani doing a great job this season as well, which means whenever she's good and I like playing her, I lose, and whenever she's terrible and I play her, I win. So, you know, if she's bad again, I'll play her, but I just have this inverse relationship with Sejuani metas. I don't know what it is. It's just, you know, it is what it is. And then, of course, I play my Ornn, you know, so we've got enough tanks running around in the jungle, even if they're not really that dominant in the actual, like, full class breakdown. So having more tanks is always good. It would be nice to have a modern tank designed specifically for the jungle. You know what I mean? Like, we have Mundo as well, but he's also a bit of, like, fighter, assassin, mage, dot mage, support, with Radiant Virtue. You know, he's kind of every checklist at the moment. And his nerfs, I made that video, just watch the video, it's exactly the same thing. I played it last night and did like 75,000 damage and tanked 125,000. I'm not joking, by the way. I posted it in my Discord, so you can join the Discord and see. It's literally in general somewhere, but these Ashe arrows though. Stack your CC, wait for someone to hit a CC spell and then Ashe arrow. Can we hit a taunt into an Ashe arrow? Yes. Can we hit a Heimer stun into an Ashe arrow? Yes. She's trying to lead with it for the maximum stun time, maximum range, but we're currently just zoning a little bit. The game has cooled down, and as you can see, these kind of games... Oh, there's the Zed over the wall. Make sure you peel. We do get that the taunt onto the Silas, who's going to use the Zhonya's. Now we just want to sit in the middle. The Cassandra does TP to help here. We've turned onto the Z priority target. He dies. Now we can focus on the next one, which is the Camille taunt CC with the Cassandra. Excellent backline target swapping. Again, your bot lane will die. They do die, but you have the sustain from the mid lane. We're going to hop the wall, make sure the bot gets killed. The late 500 will go into his Sanguine pool to dodge the tower aggro. Rammus will take it and says, I don't really care. Very nicely done. So those fights are tough. A bad tank, your Mumu, for example, especially in low elo, would just ult in and then let that, Zed just kill their backline. And now the Zed turns on you as well. So what he does is he tries to peel as much as he can one of the targets going on his backline. The Zhonya's obviously doesn't help, the bird ult obviously doesn't help, but as long as you're target swapping to peel your carries and deal with what's in front of you instead of chasing something overly chasing something, you're going to have a lot of success as a tank when you're team fighting. And that's what it's about, my friends. Tanks are here for team fighters. Assassin meta and you play tank? Good, that's your meta. That's your job, to peel AD carries from assassins. And then obviously, because you're using a tank to peel the AD carry from assassins, the AD carry kills the assassin, and now the AD carry will have to deal with their tank who's engaging on you, while your assassin engages on them. Class differences. If you're struggling killing tanks in a game, it's because your AD carry is not doing their job. All out over the wall. Get the shield, get the bot ult. Oh, that was nicely done, nicely done. And there's the Ash Arrow of Destiny. And we're able to just basically suck everybody up. We're gonna ult here, get the flash. We'll have smite to use as we want. There's a Zed sitting in the bush doing absolutely nothing, as all Zed mains do. He's gonna go the backline here. So now here, we're not gonna overchase that. We're gonna stick to these guys so that they can't follow that and hope that that 1v3 works out in our favor, which it should. We go through the magical portal. We get another kill ourselves. Bard is now running. He flashes. We have Powerball available. Taunt is available. We'll get that. Activate our W. And team can follow up. Q3. Remember with Cassandra, you can Q3, excuse me. You can Q3, or Q flash, but you can also, you can flash Q, so you can flash Q3, but you can also Q flash, right? Animation cancel it like with Zed, like with Rengar, so that's a good tip for any Cassandra players as well. But there you go. The guy runs around the map doing 5,000 damage to champions on a Thormail. He got second. The Sunfire Aegis I talked about for clearing, but in terms of team fighting, it still does a hell of a lot of damage. 2,200 in this particular case. Because you're in the middle of everything, that is what I love the most. In terms of 3-item spikes, this is what we're looking for into the Warden's Mail. It's absolutely exactly what you want in these particular scenarios. Do we care about the Silas's magic damage? No, we do not. We do not care about it at all. Why would we care about it? Because we're dealing with him first, which means he's not really doing any damage to us. So you itemize for your team fights as well. But there you have it. Z tier pick, Rammus, dominating the Season 13 jungle. Everything that could have gone right for him this patch has gone right. Make sure you are destroying Yees and Belveths in my name. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Zada GG guys, link below. Patreon coaching advanced, link below. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.